Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, and we're zipping through the defence witnesses, and the next one is Jennifer Welch. Now, as you remember, she's a CSI tech. They go back to when they were clearing the scene at Suburban Drive, and Jennifer makes clear that when they were clearing and moving the vegetation in the area of the remains, nothing was moved that was on top of the remains. A picture is now being shown of part of the scene when the vegetation had been cleared. She also says that there was a log located near the skull which was eventually removed. So that's the end of her testimony. Now we move on to Dr. Jane Bock. Another bonkers theory coming up in this one. Dr. Jane is a botanist, and she is also a forensic botanist. The items she reviewed were photographs taken by the medical examiner and the CSI techs. Jane has also visited the crime scene on Suburban Drive. She has read several documents, which include the ME's report and the description of the recovery site that was written by Jennifer Welch. Also, the report of a forensic botanist named David Hall. Jane also went to the crime scene on Suburban Drive on the 1st of February 2009. She says photographs were taken, but not by her. She had somebody with her to do that. The first pictures of the site, and in her opinion, the remains of Kaylee were only there for 2 weeks. She cannot say when the remains were actually placed there, but she does give her reason as to why she thinks the remains were only there for 2 weeks, and this is because of leaf litter. Jane read David Hall's report about the vegetation that was found on and in the vehicle, which is Casey's car. Bits of leaves were found, and the litter that was found were from a camphor tree, and she says there were none of these trees at the site of Kaylee's remains. So the cross-examination. Jane saw photographs of the root growth that were growing through the hair mass, and she is asked if those roots could have grown to that length in 2 weeks. She says yes, and she also says the same for the laundry bags. She suspects that plant roots that were growing through the bones could have taken 2 weeks also, but she isn't an expert in bones. The only experience she has had with root growth through skeletal remains is with one case, and that was with a skeleton that had been there for several years. So her experience with root growth through bone is limited. So it turns out that in one of her depositions she did, Jane said she could render an opinion of when the remains were placed at the scene, and that it's her guess that it was 2 weeks prior. It's possible, but she says it's also possible that they were there for longer than 2 weeks. So I mean, I don't want to be nasty or put a really harsh opinion out there, but Dr. Spitz and now Dr. Bock, I mean, their theories are just ridiculous. The redirect. Jane has studied botany concerning semi-tropical areas for over 30 years. Jane says that the log that was near the remains didn't have any leaf litter on it, and there was no report on what vegetation was growing underneath it, which could have helped Jane. So think of that testimony what you will. I know what I think. I think the past, Dr. Spitz and this one, I don't know. Nobody took that skull away to put duct tape on it. Nobody came back after the body had totally decomposed down to skeletal remains to put duct tape on it. Those remains were there for way longer than 2 weeks. So nice try by us, but I think that those two testimonies are just crazy. So I will be back with more interesting testimonies from the defence witnesses in the next video. So until then, bye for now.